Good morning. That was okay, but if you knew what I went through in order to be here today, you'd give me a better good morning than that. Let's try it one more time. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I'll tell you what. I would sure rather be in San Diego during a morning speech than in Dallas doing an evening speech with liquor. Let me tell you what happened. There I was at the Gaylord Hotel Complex, 1,000 people, CEOs in the jewelry business. They'd had a 3-day conference, and the way it was going to wrap up after 3 intensive days was they were going to have an hour-long cocktail party, then I was going to give a closing keynote speech, and then they were going to have a big gala dinner. Well, the bars opened up promptly at 6, and I immediately noticed these were two-fisted drinkers. They were downing them pretty good. And one guy went up and said, "I'll have 2 more doubles." And I said, "You're not going to have another drink before I speak, are you?" And he said, "The more I drink, the better you'll sound, dude." So at 7 o'clock, I'm tugging on the arm of the guy who's supposed to introduce me. "Don't you think you better get me on?" "Well, they've had a few hard days. Let them have another soda pop here. I'll get started by a half hour." So at 7:30, I said, "You got to get me on. We're going to have last call in 15 minutes. So after a 2-hour cocktail party, everybody is half in the bag. He is trying to get their attention. He finally gets them somewhat settled down, takes out an introduction and goes to read it. He is so plastered he can't read one word. The words must just be swimming. So the best he can muster is, "Jason, it's all yours." With God as my witness, I'm not making any of this up. I walk out on stage, I say, "Good evening," and some guy in the back of the room shouts, "Shut up." Now, you know this is going to happen to you sometime in your life, but you're not ready for it. And I said, "Well, let's try." I pretended I didn't hear him. I said, "Well, let's try that one more time. Good evening." And he shouted out, "I said, shut up. We don't need no stupid speakers. We need strippers like we used to have." And the whole room starts going, "Strippers, strippers, strippers." You know, so I start taking my clothes off, but how far is that action going to go? I have a problem with some other authors I've seen speak. And I've stood in the back of the room and thought, if they had just talked to some of the people in the audience, they would have done a better job of connecting. And so I have a rule for myself. When I agree to do a speech, one, I want to talk to the CEO and have a great half-hour, hour-long conversation. Did that with Rich. I want to talk to the other senior leaders. Did that. But I want to talk to 10 people who are in the audience, because I want to find out about their business, about them, their story, their challenges and issues. So over the past couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to talk to about a dozen of you all up, and I want to show you what you told me is topmost on your mind when I asked you the question, what's keeping you awake at night these days about your business? Or asked another way, what are the potential stumbling blocks or roadblocks that could get in the way of your business achieving its full economic potential? Here's what you told me. It's a new world out there, and we have to get on board the new world or we will become irrelevant. But a number of you, and I was tremendously buoyed by this, told me, there's nothing but opportunity and software out there, and it's about us getting off our butts and getting out there and making it happen. We must become consultative. And this came up in a number of conversations. We can't sell stuff anymore. We truly have to become consultative. Our customer service support needs improvement. You told me that. We must have growth and speed. And I'll be talking a lot about growth and speed today. Finding, keeping, and growing the right people for where we need to go with the way our business is going to look. But I love the line that came from somebody who told me, from Blueprint Technologies, I believe, who told me, we have to play a lot bigger than our weight, and finally, we must be laser focused. So upon hearing all of these things, I got together with my research team, and I said, here's what the CEO told me, here's what the senior leaders told me, here's what the people in the audience who I'm there for told me. Now, what am I going to talk about? What are we going to do? Well, today, I'm going to share with you the 6 secrets used by extraordinary companies to confront new worlds, to be fast, and enjoy nonstop, uninterrupted growth. Before continuing, I want to ask all of you. Secret number 5, great companies, and I love talking about this one, make lots of small bets. One of the things that jumped out to the researchers myself, was this. And I'm going to mix metaphors here, so if there's any English majors, you will be offended. What we discovered is the only time it makes sense to bet the ranch is when you're about to go over the edge of a cliff. Because if you're about to go over the edge of a cliff, it doesn't matter. I guess you got a 50-50, so I guess bet every damn thing you got. But we didn't find that inside extraordinary companies that continue to grow nonstop and take on brave new worlds. Instead, what they do is they make lots and lots of small bets, and there is no better story than Starbucks. So here's Howard Schultz, who has built Starbucks into what it is. Howard and I went to school, graduated the same year at Northern Michigan University in Marquette, and knew each other way back when. At the end of 2000, he steps down. He's got other things he wants to do. Stays on the board. Well, the pundits start saying, by 2003, 2004, guess what? The bloom is off the rose at Starbucks. We entered the Great Recession. They've lost about $2 billion in revenue on an $11 billion company. Schultz comes back. First thing he does is he takes 10,000 people to New Orleans for a week to help rebuild houses for victims of Katrina. He gathers them together, and here's what he says. Listen to the magic. He said, this company has never been about coffee, ever. He said, this company has always been about you and your growth. And you can't have growth and better tomorrows unless we have growth. He said, we have to be a company that's all about growth. And now listen to this. Over the next 15 months, Starbucks made, I list them in my book, 150 small bets in 15 months. Most companies can't handle one initiative a quarter or 3 initiatives a year. They handled 150 initiatives in 15 months. It was new store design, wine and beer testing, new products, mobile payments, big push in digital media, via instant coffee, which has become a huge hit, new logos, rewards and Starbucks cards. Down the bottom, oatmeal, a huge hit, which may be contributing now $400 million a year from nothing, and Starbucks Petites. That's like a dozen of the 150 things. So what they did was this. They said, we're going to try every idea that we possibly can try. Those that work, we're going to scale. Those that don't work, we're going to quickly forget about and move on. Extraordinary companies are fully prepared to make lots of small bets. This. Imagine what would happen. Just imagine a world where everybody woke up today. I do it while I'm brushing my teeth every morning, and I always get the toothpaste running down my chin. At one point, when I'm using my electronic toothbrush, I kind of smile at the mirror with a mouth of toothpaste, and I say, you know what? I'm going to be a good steward in every single thing I do today. Just imagine what would happen if every one of us said once a day, I'm going to be a good steward in all I do. Think of the impact that would have on our families. Think of the impact that would have on our workplace. Think of the impact that would have on our schools. Think of the impact that would have on our governments, on our states, on our nation, and on the world. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to do something, but I've been asked to make one other announcement, and that is this. I've been well paid for being here. However, they wanted to have books available because some people like to get an autographed book. My new book, The Reinventors, which came out 4 weeks ago and has hit all the bestseller lists. They got me someplace down at a table, I guess, on the way into lunch or someplace, where for about an hour and a half I'm going to be signing books if you want one. Believe me, that's not an attempt to make money. An author makes $4 a book. That's it. So I've spent more money at a bar. I mean, you know, if you sell 100 books, okay? But I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. I am so glad we had this time together. But I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me in saying goodbye. If the idea of being a good steward appeals to you, would you stand up where you are right now? Rich and Stephen, I told you there would be a standing ovation. I didn't tell you how it happens. No, you can do that in a moment because I do like a little bit of that. But I'm going to ask you to make the pledge one time, and the words are, I will be a good steward in all I do. Would you join me? I will be a good steward in all I do. I hope we get together again sometime. Thank you all so much. It's been wonderful being with you. Thank you. Thank you all so much.